Hey everyone, we're taking our first real educational style look at Photoshop here with using a quick selection tool and changing the hue and or saturation of selections that you make. Um, so again, the quick selection tool, hue and saturation, I've gone to my Adobe Creative Cloud, which I have a video on how to get access to this stuff. Um, and hopefully you'll have the right version. You'll see if you hover over it, it'll say 2021 over the top of it. What you're looking for is nothing open. If you have to, you can file and close all, which you'd see if something was actually open here. But the drag and drop, I'm going to do this first sports car to play around with this. Let's see, Control plus plus. I'm zoomed out. I don't actually have the original file here. That's not good. So let's take a look here. See if we can get. You need the right kind of picture to work with if you're going to deal with a project like this. In other words, you need a good contrasting color set between the pre-color job and the background. So you have yellow and black, red and grays and such. We'll take a look. The scenario here is in some cases you can right click and get away with just making a copy of a picture, but you're like from here to copy or deal with the image from here. This is really just a preview. This is not the full 1920 by 1080. You have to click on it, go to the actual site, and see if you can grab the download from the actual page, like what you're looking at. No, let's just save this one so you can see it from start to finish. I'll go, this isn't really orange, but I'm going to call it that so I can see it. And whatever photos here work, I'll give you a copy of. Now, wherever you download to, like this is going to go for me specifically now, orange sports car. I have it in my pictures folder, and in the pictures folder, there's the Photoshop images. I've gone and downloaded to here. I can then drag and drop this now layered up, which is why you have to close everything. And this check mark, which you always, if you see those cross lines, you have to hit the check mark. File, close all. This is what I was talking about. I want to save anything. I want to be seeing this screen before I take anything and drag it from here into Photoshop so it makes it the size of that picture. This is a much better quality. Now we're dealing with this tool, which when you look down, it's the fourth button, but these points on the corner mean that there's pop-out menus. And the quick selection tool is here. So once you see this dotted line and paintbrush thing, you can start selecting with it. The size is in pixels. So if I control plus and minus, I can zoom in and out. What you'll see is the 1920 by 1080 or whatever this picture was dimensionally how many across and up and down there are of pixels. In a picture like this with a lot of pixelation, you're getting millions of colors. And that was just a piece of the headlight. So what you're dealing with is a selection size here in pixels. So you can literally type in a number and say, I want to make this 30 pixels across. And that's what 30 pixels in this particular image looks like. Let's go to 60 for this. This depends on the resolution of the picture. If you don't have as many colors compressed into the photo size and it's low quality, this might look larger when you start. But let's control plus again to zoom in. What it's looking for is matching color. So you're looking for a picture to use that's good quality and also a good difference in color between the recolor job and the background. So there's a lot of contrast in this, which makes it easy for the software to see what you're looking for. It's looking for the color that you're hovering over or something that's similar to it. So you can see why it's jumping down there. It's looking for anything that's closely related to that set of colors of red, orange, whatever this actually is. And it doesn't matter if we overflow like this, because we can go back and edit that, which I'll talk about in a second here. I'm going to reduce the size of this a bit, get a little bit more accurate. Control plus to zoom in. There then is, once you're zoomed in enough, a slider bar here to get you around. And hitting the Alt button. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. Clicking on the picture, hitting the what just happened? We're down to 1 pixel. I don't know why that happened, but so if you increase the size of this so you can see it, there's a big plus in the middle. Not big, but there's a plus in the middle. If you hit the Alt button, there's a minus there, so you can deselect areas that you don't want to be in a recoloring situation. Here is a perfect example where you really have to reduce the size a whole bunch and zoom in to get an accurate recoloring. You might have to go back and forth. The more you go back and forth, the more information the software is figuring out for you. So doing what I'm doing is not a bad thing, because it's going back and forth and looking at the colors that I'm working with, and it's figuring out what I want because of that. All right, well, that's close enough. So I've got all of the color that I want selected, minus maybe bring that down just a bit. Trying to do this without zooming in or taking too much time. All right, close enough. Okay, so anything that you select with whatever selection tool you're using, there's various ways to go about selecting things. You can then recolor and adjust anything within that selection. So hue and saturation, the definition, hue is the property of the color. It's just the color itself: greens, blues, purples, indigos, reds, all the colors of the rainbow. Saturation is how much of any given color you're dealing with. So you can adjust all of that stuff, and take this and drag. It's funny because I'm over the blue, but like just slightly to the right, we've got like a bright yellow, green, blue. It's just leave it like that. All right. And then selection, anything that you're dealing with a lot of selections in this program. So there's different tools of specific selection. Anything that you've got dotted like this, you've got to do a deselection, which I prefer using Control D. Just the shortcuts on the keyboard. If you're looking at something like this, if you keep your hand on the keyboard, use it's enough, you'll get used to it. But this is a cool recoloring from like an orange red to a bluish purple. And here's the situation. This thing is right now saved in a folder as orange sport car. Anything that I use this for, I can add V2 for version 2 after it, but you don't want to get rid of the .jpeg or anything else. So if you do a file, save as, save to the computer, and click in here. If you click anywhere and it's in the wrong place, just use your arrows on the keyboard. Make sure you're before the dot and whatever is after it, because that'll destroy the file if you mess that up. V2, and then just hit enter. This is a quality option. Just keep it the way it's set up and hit OK. And what you'll see if you've done everything properly here is the orange sport car original. I don't know why my computer is doing this. This is a OneDrive issue, but here's the original. Here's the modified version. It's not letting me change the view properties in my menus here for some god awful reason, but that's the name of the deal. And you can go back into here and you can, if you leave it selected, you can just keep recoloring it and saving it as another file name, and you can play with like getting 5 different colors of something really quickly just by leaving the dotted lines there. Um, Again, if you're going to do another project like this, you hit close everything. So you're starting off looking at, let's see if any of these are any good. Nope, too small. That's why I got rid of that earlier. But I'll have some files for you guys uploaded, so you're going to just play around with different recoloring versions. I'll put this one up that I just did. So you've got access to this orange sport car photo, and then the definitions of quick selection tool and what you do with it, as well as hue and saturation, are all in here. I'll have everything attached to this project, and you're going to do 5 or so of these kinds of selections, and do a few from me, probably a couple of your own, so you can get the practice of hunting for photos. Just real quick tip on that: anytime you're searching for images, make sure you go into the tools and change the size to large. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right quality of what you're looking for. You also then have to take it one step further, which is limiting on the school network. Sports cars is a very safe search term, so it's not going to be something that gets blocked for you. A lot of files are filtered, but we'll just take anything that seems like it'll work. This is what you'll have to be responsible for doing. Like something like this would actually recolor probably very well because there's a tan, brown, and black surrounding the blue. So, but you have to be looking at the original photo on our original website to be able to save it to where you need to. This should be docked down here. As soon as it's saved like this, you can drag it into Photoshop. What is going on? Here we go. Let's try this one more time. Drag it over here, up into the program. Much, much better. This is here. My selection size is too small. No, it's too big for over there. Got some of the big. I usually go for the big spots, big areas, places that are easy to see for the program, and get a little carried away. I have to hold down Alt, back out of that. This doesn't need to be selected. This does, so I'm going to reduce the size. You can't be lazy about the controls. Control plus zoom in. Like, not being lazy, I mean taking the time to control the size of the selection and zoom in or out to see what's really going on. And Alt to subtract. And back and forth until it's right. Cool. So again, image adjustments, huge menu, a lot of different things, but hue and saturation is not the highest resolution of photos for this, but still, let's make it something crazy. You can see I missed some of the blue, but we'll just hit OK. Again, what I was saying is saving these things, what you'll do is File, Save As, make sure it goes to where you've been saving your stuff, but just add the V2, and then I'll show you about doing a V3. Do that, you can go right back into the adjustments play with another color, hit OK, file, save as. And save the other one as V3, and this one as V2. Right, so what you'll see is the original V2, V3, blue, purple, green. If you're done with everything, you can deselect, Control minus. It's up and down. This is the shortcut for dealing with the navigation. If you roll your mouse wheel up and down, and then if you hit Control and roll the mouse wheel, it goes left and right, which is neat. But let's see, I've got funky selections here. But it's neat how fast you can modify colors and things. And this is just the basics of it. It's an easy way to get everybody just quickly adjusted to the drag and drop and selection controls. Getting into sub menus here, finding the middle one there to do this kind of work, and then dealing with the save names and all that stuff. There's a lot of little things to get oriented with the software. So these are good little projects to get everybody sort of going. There's not too much criticism about getting it perfect, but you want to try and do your best. So you're zooming in and proving that you can zoom in and control the size of these things. Some of these photos that I give are great quality. Like this is a really good one to work with. I'll definitely include this one in the work files. It's just certain kinds of images had to be used in order to make something like this happen this easily, but really it's about the practice and saving and getting the controls down in the basic way. You can always go into the Creative Cloud and look at the training that's there for the specific programs that you've got. This is one last little note for anybody that's got the patience to look through all this stuff. As you scroll down, when you go into the Creative Cloud and like install it, or when you just go into apps and click on Photoshop, below the applications, there's tutorials. Excuse me, getting late. You've got 147 millimeters. I'm always used to saying that because my engineering class is designing in millimeters for 3D print work. The 147 minutes of video teaches you how to deal with a lot of different tools and getting much deeper into it than I will. So you're more than welcome to do this kind of work, save it, make sure I see it. I'll end up collecting all this stuff in a very different way, but save it and hand it in. I'll give you guys credit for it no matter what. Whatever you choose to do based on professional training outside of my world is always good. So enjoy. I'll talk to you guys soon.